Mary woke up in the middle of the night, having no idea what had roused her. Yet she felt the indescribable fear of some unseen threat being in her bedroom. She tried to reach for her bedside lamp, but realized in horror that she couldn't move. Every muscle in her body seemed to be frozen, completely unresponsive. Her heart, which was drumming wildly in her chest, her heaving lungs, and her blinking, frantically searching eyes were the only muscles that weren't paralyzed. Mary could only listen as someone heavy slowly approached the foot of her bed. She wanted to scream. She wanted to run, but she couldn't. No matter how hard she strained, tears began to stream as she heard the intruder slowly moving closer to her bedside. Within seconds, she could finally see her tormentor, and her heart sank. Even in the dimness of her dark bedroom, she saw a tall, distinctive humanoid shadow leaning over her, inches from her face. Although she couldn't make out any of its facial features, she could tell that it was smiling at her. Bum, 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 bum.
I'm keeping that in there.
No, you can't.
There have been reports of strange creatures in the area.
Witnesses say they couldn't believe what they were seeing.
What is that? Welcome, beloved fofers, doubters, naysayers, non-believers, and skeptics. Welcome to Paranormal Fable or Fact. I am Victor Trevino, joined by my co-host and beautiful wife, Tammy.
We are your humble guides to tales of alleged hoaxes, unbelievable stories, and the overall strength.
If you want your story to be on the show, send us an email at pfableorfact@proton.me. The rules and the rules for debunkers are in the show notes. Like, give us a good review, hit the notification bell, and subscribe. Subscribing to our channel is the easiest way to support the show other than buying us a beer. Our appreciation, as always, goes out to our veterans, our troops, and our first responders. God be with you and yours. So, after that rousing intro, this show we're going to do is called Benadryl Monsters, and I'll explain why in a little bit here. And we're going to be talking about sleep paralysis, which is a temporary inability to move or speak while falling asleep or when you're first waking up, often accompanied by vivid, frightening hallucinations and a feeling of intense fear. This occurs when the brain wakes from REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, but the body remains paralyzed. Episodes last seconds to minutes, leaving the person fully conscious but unable to move. We'll go over the statistics of it, but I thought it was much more commonly occurring in people than it actually is. This might be because sleep paralysis has something to do with the paranormal. I only say that because it seems that there are a lot of hosts and guests of paranormal shows, and people who are interested in the paranormal seem to experience sleep paralysis more often than others. We don't have any evidence of this. This is just something I noticed. Could be way off. It could be way off base on that. But it's just something I noticed. No disclaimer. Our red flags /findings/sightings section.
Okay.
Apparently, some debunker found a few posts on social media, and that was enough to claim that Benadryl causes us to see shadow people. No. Sorry, that's wrong. It causes us to possibly see the Hat Man. And the Hat Man is a specific entity that was introduced on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie by a lady. And she first came on with Art Bell. And she was, I believe it's the same lady that was talking about the hag, the night hag. But anyway, that's like a totally separate show. Let's move on. So we're not talking about isolated sleep paralysis or ISP, which isn't very common. According to most studies, only 9% of the population report at least one episode in their life. One time. Less than 10% say it happened to them one time in their whole life.
Wow.
So that's pretty rare as it is, right?
Yeah, that's very rare.
In college students, it's significantly higher with rates of around 29%. So 29% of the college students say, oh yeah, it happened one time. Psychiatric patients is even higher than that at about 32%. Now remember, this is people saying that it only happened one time in their life.
Okay.
We're not talking about that. We're going to tackle what's called RISP, or recurrent isolated sleep paralysis, and we're just going to call it RISP because that's easier.
Yeah, and it's technical.
Yes, and it's technical. It sounds technical. RISP is what we're going to be talking about on the show, and it's even rarer than ISP, isolated sleep paralysis, with only about 4% of college students reporting that they had 5 or more episodes in their lifetime. A Google search states that RISP is uncommon, but, quote, its precise prevalence is not well known. Another Google search, because that wasn't good enough for me, yielded, quote, the exact percentage of the general population with RISP is less defined, unquote. So basically what that told me is that we have no idea how many people suffer from RISP, or this recurrent isolated sleep paralysis. I would guess that it's probably less than 5% of the population.
Wow.
So it's rare. It's really, really rare. Narcolepsy, which is tied to it, affects what? Less than 1%? It's like less than half of 1% of the population? It's like 0.05% or something? Crazy. But anyway, moving on. Visual, auditory, and hallucinatory experiences are commonly reported with sleep paralysis, typically including a sense of an evil presence in the room, the sensation of being touched, or hearing voices or other noises nearby. Occasionally, more organized hallucinatory activities, such as seeing faces or people at the bedside, are reported, that would freak me out.
Yeah.
See a face?
Yeah, that would... Ugh.
That happened to me when I was a kid in that house.
Right, exactly.
A sense of breathlessness, often described as pressure or more disturbingly as someone standing or pressing on the chest, which also happened to me in that house, is common, likely reflecting the disquieting feeling of relying solely on the diaphragmatic musculature for respiration. Big long sentence there, but all that means is that you have to force yourself to breathe, basically, because you feel like there's a pressure on your chest. The thing is that those are what are called involuntary muscle movements, like your heart rate, your eyes blinking, and your breathing.
Yeah.
You don't have to mentally think about doing it. It just happens, right?
Yeah, your body naturally does it.
So that doesn't quite match up with the whole, okay, what happens during sleep paralysis? And we'll talk about that a little more here. We know that sleep paralysis occurs when a person is initially falling asleep or when they first begin to wake up. It's very important to remember this as we dive deeper into this. During REM sleep, we know that specific neurons in the pons and the medulla regions of the brainstem become active. These neurons release neurotransmitters, or GABA, which is gamma aminobutyric acid, and glycine onto motor neurons in the spinal cord. The binding of these neurotransmitters to the motor neurons effectively silences them, making it impossible for the brain signals to reach the muscles and cause movement. We call this REM atonia. So the concept is you fall asleep, and while you're in REM sleep, which is when you're in the deepest sleep and you're having your most deepest, clearest dreams, you can't move.
So is a clear dream almost like what you're going to remember when you wake up?
When you have, that's what you're going to mostly remember when you wake up.
Because they're so vivid and they're so...
Right. Clear. And,
Okay.
But I've woke up and moved. I mean, remember the time when I was boxing and I, boxed your head?
I knew you were going to say it in this show. I knew it.
Don't call family services or the police on us. It was just a little tap. I basically tapped her on the head because in my dream we were play fighting. I was play fighting one of my brothers with gloves on, and I just kind of did the little jab, and I jabbed the side of Tammy's head, basically just kind of pushing her, and she woke up, kind of growled at me, and then rolled back over and fell back to sleep.
I woke up, said a cuss word, and went back to sleep.
Right, and that's all that happened. So I kind of have a challenge to that, because if they say you can't move up absolutely, well then you have to be able to, because I've also woke up while running. But again, that might be you're having a dream, not in REM sleep, is all I can think of.
Maybe.
How that explains it. But still, it's just kind of weird. Haven't you had those dreams where you fall and you wake up? Because you have that jerk and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of weird. So moving on.
This was found on the Sleep Foundation's website under the Frequently Asked Questions section. Are sleep paralysis demons real? Answer: no, sleep paralysis demons are not real. They are hallucinations your brain creates while your body is stuck between sleep and wakefulness. Nothing to see here, folks.
Yeah, it struck me as odd that they're just so... No, absolutely not. You know, it's like, really?
Well, and you've been talking about this show and talking about this sleep paralysis and how they don't know much. So it's kind of funny how they say a definite no on something.
Exactly.
Yet they know nothing.
But they know very little about
Yes.
it, right? And that's why we decided to do the show.
Yeah.
The fundamental why behind sleep and dreams remains a mystery, with scientists and doctors debating their exact purpose.
There you go.
Moving on. We know very little about dreams, and they are very difficult to study. The biggest mystery is why we dream at all. Did we evolve to dream because it serves these functions, or do these functions happen during sleep because it's efficient? While theories abound, and the theories are way out there, like it's threat simulation to prepare you, emotional processing to deal with stress, etc., etc.,
Yeah.
no single definitive answer exists. So we don't even know why we sleep or what the purpose. I mean, we know it, like, basically it's your brain shutting down so that it can process.
Don't we sleep to rest and reboot like a computer?
Right, like, to refresh your brain, basically.
Yeah. That's what I would
And
do.
if you don't get sleep, you'll die. They know that.
Yeah.
But they don't know why. What is the purpose? And it's not just humans. Every sentient creature out there has to sleep. And why are dreams so difficult to study? Because we can't see or experience them if they're not our own. Another very important thing to remember. If you can't see what someone is dreaming, how can you even begin to study it?
Likewise, what do we know about lucid dreaming? We know they exist and recognize that they could potentially be therapeutic, and we are experimenting right now on how to induce them.
Which would be awesome. We looked into precognitive dreams, a Google search. While no scientific mechanism explains predicting the future, explanations often involve our brains connecting subtle cues, processing vast information unconsciously, and then misinterpreting common events as prescient after they occur, or retrospective precognition. Long-winded explanation with a bunch of big words basically means we have no idea. Because we know that they happen because they've been documented. For example, one of the most famous ones is President Lincoln's dream. He saw a battle, and then he also dreamt about his death, remember?
Oh, yes.
So we know it happens, we just don't know why. And they gave us a big long-winded explanation as to why, but they really don't know, is basically what it boils down to. So we know very little about lucid dreaming. We know very little about normal dreaming. We know almost nothing about sleep paralysis, and we know almost nothing about precognitive dreams. Do you see the pattern?
Yes, we know nothing.
And this is why, and this is why that frequently asked question struck me so odd, that no, they're absolutely fake. Just like you said. Isn't that weird that they would do that?
Yeah, it's very strange.
Let's move on.
Okay. Treatments for sleep paralysis focus on improving sleep hygiene, which is readying oneself for sleep, reducing your stress, addressing the underlying causes like narcolepsy or anxiety. Key strategies include maintaining a consistent sleep schedule, sleeping on your side, because it seems that sleeping on your back may increase your chances of having a bout, and limiting caffeine or alcohol before bed. In rare persistent cases, doctors may even prescribe medication.
So what we're talking about here is recurrent sleep paralysis, because if you only have it one time in your life, why would you have to do all this?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So we're talking about extremely rare cases, and this is their answer for it.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
I don't like how they say they prescribe medication, but they say no alcohol.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
But I think it's medications that are that induce like deep sleep.
Oh, okay.
Where you're not going to wake up because you're having a weird dream or whatever,
Yeah.
or breathing problems or what have you.
I guess, because I've never been prescribed medication to sleep. I mean, I've been prescribed for
Yeah, I never
pain,
have either.
but
Most of the stuff is over the counter.
Yeah, so maybe we don't understand that. Maybe there's people out there that have
really
these
need it.
issues and,
Yeah.
and really need it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
my bad.
So we're at our favorite part of the show, the inarguable truths.
Arguable truths.
So number one, Altered states of mind were commonly used to commune with spirits and gods.
Number 2, do they really know how many people move during REM sleep?
Number 3, dreams are diverse, so the explanation for the commonality during sleep paralysis is weak.
Number 4, sleep paralysis is difficult to study.
Number 5, people suffering from RISP may stop seeking treatment for the lack of real aid.
Number 6, how can we be so confident in knowing people are just hallucinating?
Okay, so going back to inarguable truth number 1, which is altered states of mind were commonly used to commune with spirits and gods. And this is academia's explanation that mind-altering drugs can effectively and profoundly induce subjective spiritual experiences, a phenomenon deeply rooted in human history, and now a focus of modern research into consciousness and potential therapeutic applications. Now, the million-dollar question is, isn't an episode of sleep paralysis an altered state of mind? So if people in the past used drugs or drinks, powders, mushrooms, or even like they would sometimes dance themselves into like this
Trance.
like a trance, right? To commune with gods or to commune with the spirit world.
Yeah.
Well, what is sleep paralysis? You're in a state of being between asleep and being awake. It's an altered state of mind.
Oh.
So if you're seeing spirits or shadows or whatever, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Since we know it goes all the way back to human history and academia recognizes this, that they've done it and that it's actually effective and even potentially therapeutic to some people, when it happens for people that are going through sleep paralysis, how can they just blow it off as, well, you're not really seeing it, you're just hallucinating it?
Yeah.
So let's move on to inarguable truth number 2, which is, do they really know how many people move during REM sleep? I started to really think about this. They're going by what they know happens in the human body, okay? And they know people do move during REM sleep. They just say it's a disorder if you can do that. Basically, something's not working correctly. So you're not supposed to be able to move at all during REM sleep, according to the Wizards of Smart. But we know you do. How often have you fallen asleep in one position and woke up in another?
Oh, all the time.
You move during sleep all the time. So how do they know that just during REM sleep, with their limited sleep programs and sleep studies and stuff, how do they know that you absolutely cannot move during REM sleep? REM sleep doesn't last very long. When it comes to like a 6 to 8 hour bout of sleep, REM sleep's only like a couple hours in there or something.
Yeah.
If the argument is that they're watching someone every single day of their life, every second they're asleep, okay, good argument. But how can they do that? Do you see what I'm saying? How often can they watch someone sleep? If you occasionally move, the disorder is called REM sleep behavior disorder. Of course, has to be a big long term, and it's RBD. How often does this disorder happen? Because I know personally that, and I don't have a sleeping disorder.
No.
But I've moved while in the middle of a very vivid dream, so vivid that I've woke up running before.
Yeah.
I've woke up swimming before.
Yeah.
And these are very...
Woke up punching your wife before.
Exactly.
You know.
And I'm not saying that they're not correct. I'm just saying, how do they know how accurate that is? How often do people suffer
I see what you're saying.
from
Yeah,
this
the accuracy.
disorder?
Yeah.
There's no way to say that, oh, no, absolutely cannot move. Really?
That's where you're hitting it, is because if we're being accurate and that's a solid no,
then why is there a
it's
disorder?
not vibing. Yeah, it's not vibing.
Why is there a disorder? So in other words, my point is that if supposedly sleep paralysis is caused by your brain not allowing you to move, in other words, it's all in your head, well then why can some people move during REM? And if they do, why is it a disorder?
Well, that is a disorder. It's all in your head. It's called it's all in your head disorder.
But do you see my point?
Yeah, no, I do see your point.
So, moving on. Number 3, dreams are diverse, so the explanation for the commonality during sleep paralysis is weak. Because I had to look this up. There's scenarios, specific scenarios people suffer during sleep paralysis. The first scenario is called the intruder, and this is a shadowy figure or presence that feels menacing. People often describe seeing someone standing in a corner, lurking near the bed, or approaching slowly. The next is the incubus/succubus scenario, And this is a sensation of pressure on someone's chest as if someone is sitting or lying on top of the sleeper. This often occurs with difficulty breathing and feelings of dread. The next one is the shadow person, a dark, faceless silhouette that seems to watch or move around the room. They don't always interact directly with the person, but evoke a deep fear due to their appearance and their presence. So there's like this presence of evil, basically. The witch or the old hag, which is what I saw, a specific figure often described as a crone or a witch-like being sitting on the chest or standing nearby the bed. This type is especially common in folklore and historical accounts of sleep paralysis because they've been seeing this thing for hundreds and hundreds of years. And then the less common one is the out-of-body figures or doppelgangers, which are less common but reported. These involve seeing a version of oneself or floating above your sleeping body, sometimes tied to feelings of detachment or disorientation. So now they're trying to sweep outer body experiences in with sleep paralysis. See how neatly that and easily that's done?
Yeah, put it in there with a bow on it.
Yeah, just tie it all together so that you can explain it away. Now, when you really look at these 4 scenarios that are the common ones, there's really only 2. Because you can pretty much combine the witch or the hag with the succubus incubus scenarios.
Yeah.
Because both of them involve something, sitting on top of you, having trouble breathing, feelings of dread, etc., etc. Same thing with the shadow person and the intruder.
Yeah.
They're both shadowy, they're both in the room, possibly interact with you, possibly not. So there's only 2 scenarios. I believe they tried to break it up into 5 because they're trying to make it seem like there's not a limited commonality between all the scenarios. This is explained by a, quote, universal neurobiological mechanisms, unquote. These physiological events are then shaped by an individual's cultural beliefs and fears into specific yet recurring narratives. Why don't dreams follow these same patterns? According to this explanation, people would only have 4 or 5 types of dreams that are recurring, which is simply not true. I've had dreams of flying, I've had dreams of falling, I've had dreams where I'm near a waterfall, at school, in the military, I'm driving. We don't have just a couple of scenarios according to their explanation.
No.
Their explanation of this universal neurobiological mechanism doesn't make any sense. Because why is that only limited to sleep paralysis? Wouldn't it happen when you're normally dreaming too?
I would think so.
So how do you explain all the different dreams that we have? I mean, do you think that your dreams have a specific scenario? Of limited scenarios, like maybe 5 or 6?
No.
You dream of all kinds of crazy stuff, right?
All kinds of stuff. That's why there's all those dream books out there.
Exactly.
There's so many dream books, and a lot of people get the dream books and like, oh, I dreamed of Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Or I dreamed of my tooth falling out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they'll look it up.
I dreamed when I was a little kid again. I have a lot of dreams like that where I'm a little kid again and we're like up in the mountains or we're having a picnic or...
I mean, I have like similar reoccurring, which is just like, I have this one reoccurring, and it doesn't matter how old I am. I always dream my high school diploma was fake and that I didn't pass high school and I have to go back to high school.
It's the same. That's the school dream, though.
Yeah, that's a school dream, so...
I've had one where I went somewhere and then I want to go home and I can't find my house.
I've had that.
And you're wandering the street and you're like, well, my house should be right there. Yeah. Why isn't it? And it's not even your house.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking about. Your dreams are all over the place. So why is there only 2 scenarios during sleep paralysis?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Very, very hard to explain. But again, they don't know what's going on. They don't even know what sleep paralysis really is.
They don't know.
So moving on, because this is why we're going into detail here by the next inarguable truth. Number 4, sleep paralysis is difficult to study. A Google search with the AI overview, sleep paralysis is difficult to study accurately due to the subjective, spontaneous, and often brief nature of episodes relying heavily on self-reports. Though neuroimaging and better questionnaires are improving objective measures on its hallucinations, fear, and brain activity, capturing these fleeting, distressing, and culturally influenced hallucinatory experiences, like the feeling of intruders, for example, during brain scans is challenging, highlighting the need for better tools to understand the full clinical picture. Now, to me, all of that long explanation basically means they have no idea. They have no idea. Because
we've been saying that the whole
it's
show.
extremely difficult, because remember how rare it is. It only most people it only happens one time, and that's less than 10% of the population. Of that, only 4% of college students say that it's happened 5 times or more. So you have to have someone not only in a sleep program or a sleep study, you have to capture it at the exact moment they're dealing with it.
Right.
And you have to have them hooked up to computers to see what they're talking about.
Right, and it's not going to happen every day, so you
could be watching them for months.
Yeah.
Years, and nothing happened.
And the money to spend on that, and the person to give that their time for that.
Because remember what they said about dreams.
Right.
How difficult they are to study because you can't see what they're dreaming. Well, you can't see what people are experiencing during sleep paralysis either. You can only go by what they report or what they're willing to tell you. And this is not a criticism. I'm not criticizing them. I'm just saying it's very hard to study. So how can they be so concrete when it comes to people asking about, is this stuff real? No, absolutely not. You're just hallucinating. Really?
Yeah.
When you don't even know what's going on.
Right.
That's the point of this. That's why we're doing this. We're challenging it.
Yeah.
And it's a valid challenge. And I love the fact that this explanation focuses on cultural, because it's religious stuff. It's your personal belief stuff. If you're, for example, if you're Native American or First Nations and you believe in spirits or the spirits of your ancestors, and that's what's going on during your sleep paralysis, or maybe you think it has something to do with that. If you're Christian or, a Muslim and you believe it's a demon or a jinn or something, it's going to affect how you react to it.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? And also, this is the other point, why sleep paralysis is difficult to study, the inarguable truth. Time doesn't work the same. In other words, have you ever had like a 15-minute nap and you have this long, in-depth dream where you think, oh my God, I must have slept for 4 hours, and you wake up and you look at the clock and it's been like 10, 15 minutes?
Yes.
So, in other words, time doesn't pass while you're dreaming as it does in the real world. Well, if you're going through sleep paralysis and you're in that altered state of mind, you're in that weird state of being asleep but not quite being asleep.
Right.
It's the same thing. To you, your sleep paralysis scenario, the intruder, the succubus, whatever's going on, it could seem like it's lasting for 10, 15, 20 minutes, even a couple of hours.
Right.
But in reality, if someone's watching you, it could be seconds.
Yeah.
So how can you catch that specific moment as someone who's researching this? What are the odds of you catching someone going through sleep paralysis at the precise time they're doing it?
Yeah.
When you're talking about such a small window.
Correct.
So let's move on. Number 5, people suffering from RISP, or recurrent isolated sleep paralysis, may stop seeking treatment for a lack of real aid. This goes back to that reference of relying heavily on self-reports. Because people don't want to... Well, here's a perfect scenario. I got this offline. This is a typical case of someone coming in suffering from sleep paralysis, seeking medical aid.
Okay.
EB is a 22-year-old Caucasian woman requesting evaluation for a 2-year history, 2 years, of spells of paralysis. These began after an auto accident that was not associated with any head trauma, but did result in a broken ankle. EB described the accident as intensely terrifying. During recovery, she began these episodes of emerging from sleep to a state of being fully awake but unable to move, accompanied by a sense of fear and breathlessness. Sometimes she would have visual imagery or strange sensations, such as a feeling of a distinct foreign presence in the room, seeing shadows, or hearing footsteps. It's not something that's light-hearted. It's terrifying for some people, traumatizing for some people. Typically, the episodes would occur from a nocturnal waking and could happen at any time of night. Initially, they would occur at random from weekly to a month or two apart. For the preceding month, before she made this appointment with these medical people, events increased to several times a night and even occurred during daytime napping.
Wow.
So she's absolutely being plagued by this stuff.
Yeah, she's scared to sleep.
She became fearful of sleeping. She admitted reluctance to discuss these events with a physician for fear of being labeled mentally ill, which is, I believe, why people stop treatment because they don't want people thinking they're crazy. They don't want the
Right.
doctors thinking they're crazy.
Right.
She described sleep quality as poor, with anxiety and excessive worry. She denied visual or audio hallucinations during daytime hours. She admitted strong feelings of fatigue with concentration and memory difficulty. She often resorted to a 1 to 2 hour nap upon returning home from work due to an overwhelming sense of sleepiness in the early evening. She denied restless leg symptoms, snoring, witnessed apnea, and cataplexy. Cataplexy is a symptom of narcolepsy. It's like you're very unresponsive and you're very groggy and you're like, sluggish and stuff. That's what that is, basically. So they did tests on her and basically found none of that. She denied smoking or recreational drug use and drank alcohol infrequently. She used no regular medications and had no family history of sleep disorders. Physical examination revealed a slim adult female with no distress. Blood pressure was 118/70, pulse was 90 beats per minute and regular, height was 5 foot 9 inches tall, and her weight was 139 pounds. Upper airway exam revealed uncrowded upper airway and absent tonsils, so she had her tonsils removed. Cardiopulmonary exam revealed no abnormalities. CBC and thyroid function tests were normal, so they're running all kinds of tests on her.
She's healthy.
They can't figure out what's wrong with her.
Right.
Diagnosis. Here's where we get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
They diagnosed her with RISP, recurrent isolated sleep paralysis, associated with hypnopompic hallucinations precipitated by behavioral-induced insufficient sleep syndrome. Big, long word. Basically, they have no idea what's wrong with her.
Yeah.
What is that? Induced insufficient sleep syndrome? You mean you can't sleep right? You need more sleep, basically, is what they're saying. But they use the big terms because it makes it sound more important.
It's a disorder.
Yeah, it's a disorder, of course. It has to be. Can't possibly be that she's having night terrors because something's actually coming into her room, some spirit or evil thing. No, it can't possibly be that, right?
No.
The treatment for RISP is avoidance of sleep deprivation and other identified precipitants. Think about the idiocy of that sentence.
So they're telling her to sleep more, even though she has a fear of sleeping because something is visiting her or something's going on.
Here's this poor woman coming to them for help, suffering nightly, sometimes numerous times, of having this happen to her. And basically they're telling her, well, you need to avoid sleep deprivation.
We know you're scared to sleep, but
you're terrified of sleep.
You need to go to sleep.
But you just need to sleep.
Yeah, just go to sleep.
Does that sound dismissive to you or not? It does to me. That's their that's their genius diagnosis from the Wizards of Smart. Doesn't say anything about them actually prescribing anything to her.
Oh, okay.
So they just said, well, if you still keep having trouble after you get more sleep, then we might give you some anxiety pills, basically. Follow-up. EB was advised to extend her nocturnal sleep to 8.5 hours and to keep a sleep diary, which would include a list of sleep paralysis events. She was seen 2 weeks later and declared her events had resolved completely. She denied the sense of fighting sleep on a daily basis and no longer required a nap after work. Everybody's happy. Here go the cheers, the applause. That's it. She's perfectly healthy now because she got 2.5 more hours of sleep a night and everything went away magically.
Yeah.
Now, when I read that, I thought, is this doctor a moron? It's obvious that she just said, you know what? You can't help me. I'm fine.
Well, there's a lot of red flags. There's one, they told her to keep a sleep diary. If she goes back to the doctor and shows them the sleep diary, they're already not supporting what she's saying that's going on. So they would look at that sleep diary and go, she has mental health issues. She needs help. And then they would probably prescribe her with some medications because they're going to get money for that, because let's not get into the pharmaceutical world. So yeah, they didn't help her at all.
Well, they didn't even do any of that.
No, yeah, but that's what they were planning. Them advising her, all that.
Right.
They said, okay, the doctor said, okay, I want you to do A, B, and C, and then you come back and see me, because they already had a plan, which, if it went more negative, I think.
Right.
And I think she was smart enough to know that.
She was smart enough to see that wasn't going to help.
Yeah.
What are you talking? I'm going through all this, and you're going to tell me, oh, you just need more sleep.
Yeah.
What a dismissive
Hopefully
throwaway.
she found peace and she really did.
I doubt she did. I mean, if you're dumb enough to honestly think that just increasing your nightly sleep time from 6 hours to 8.5 hours magically kept everything away, and
especially if you have a fear of sleeping.
A sleep diary? What?
Especially if you have a fear of sleeping because something's haunting you in your dreams or whatever.
And you're waking up multiple times a night?
Yeah.
How clear of sleep are you getting?
Yeah.
But she declared that her events had resolved completely. She denied the sense of fighting sleep on a daily basis and no longer required a nap after work. The point is, if this is your typical exam, and they're saying that the
diagnosis and treatment,
and they're saying that it's difficult to study sleep paralysis, why do you think that is? If you're going to act like jackasses like this and just blow people off when they're coming in looking for help.
Yeah.
You're basically imagining it. You just need more sleep. Really? Yeah. Or you need medications for anti-anxiety. Really? But what if it's this that's giving me the anxiety?
Yeah.
How is that going to help?
Yeah.
But let's move on. We beat that dead horse into the ground. But that was a really important one. That one was almost the mic drop. Now here comes the mic drop. Number 6. How can we be so confident in knowing people are just hallucinating? Again, going back to that frequently asked question on the Sleep Foundation. Sleep paralysis demons are not real. They're hallucinations your brain creates while your body is stuck between sleep and wakefulness. Since they cannot see these entities, shadow people or demons, during sleep paralysis, how do they know? They're assuming. Period.
So basically, what happened to you in that house, you hallucinated.
I just hallucinated.
And it never happened.
And that's completely in my head, and it's just part of sleep paralysis.
Yeah, and it's all your fault.
Or I have a sleep disorder.
Yeah, or you have a sleep disorder. Get some more sleep, would you?
Now, here's another one that I wanted to touch on because I think this is very important, because I know there's people that are going to listen to this show and think this. 80% of the world's population is religious. Period. It's actually a little higher than 80%, but it averages out to about 80%. Let me say that again for people that didn't understand. 80% of the world's population identifies as religious. To assume people are not seeing demons, evil spirits, entities, etc., simply because, scientifically speaking, they don't exist, is an argument from a position of authority and is a weak stance. Not saying you're wrong, but you are in the vast minority. People believe in evil spirits, people believe in jinn, people believe in demons. That's it.
Yeah.
So to make the argument, well, you can't possibly be seeing that stuff, they're just hallucinations because demons don't exist. Your whole argument's out the window at that point. They shouldn't be dismissing any of this. They should be admitting that they're not sure and that they don't know. That's what they should be saying. Not, nope, nothing to see here, folks. No such thing as sleep demons. Don't worry about it. Just go get more sleep. Or keep a sleep diary. What? Keep a sleep diary? Really? That'll fix it. That'll keep them shadow people away. That'll tell the Hat Man where to go, right? You know, I'm keeping a sleep diary, Mr. Hat Man.
Yeah, and you're going to be in this diary, buddy.
I dare you to show up tonight. Yeah, that'll scare them. It's just nonsense. It really is. But when you really think about it, that goes back to where that guy chuckled at me, that psychologist chuckled at me when I was telling him what happened.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there like, well, you know, I'm not here to figure out, you know, whether I believe you or not. I'm here to try to help you. And I said, well, if you don't believe me, you can't help me.
Exactly.
It's the same mentality. She is looking at this doctor, and they're telling her, oh, you just need more sleep. And she's like, they don't believe me. Yeah. They can't help me. So EB gave him the finger and just moved on.
Yeah, moved on.
And that's why sleep paralysis is so hard to study, because they, capital T, they won't accept it as possibly having something to do with the paranormal. So in conclusion, baby, what do you think about recurrent isolated sleep paralysis?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's terrible to think that they, the experts, really don't know anything and can't help you. So you're just sitting there and like, how do I, can you imagine not being being afraid to sleep?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
That's terrible.
And people deal with this stuff.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's bad enough when you have anxiety, you're stressed out, and you can't fall asleep.
Yeah, just insomnia.
Oh,
it's terrible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Can you
you're
imagine?
not clear thinking, you're not, I mean, and think about how many times in your day that you have to be clear thinking. Just driving a car, you have to be clear thinking. Mm-hmm. So can you imagine?
My thing is I remember in my memory where I had a terrible nightmare and I couldn't sleep after it because it scared the crap out of me. It's only happened a couple times in my life, but it happened. And I remember how traumatizing it was because the rest of the day I was like messed up. And even the following night, I was like terrified to go to sleep.
Yeah, you were dreading it.
Because I'm like, man, I hope I don't go back into that dream, right?
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine what these people are dealing with.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so difficult to study. Well, yeah, jackass, because you're blowing them off.
Yeah. Well, I don't really have a conclusion. I'm just like, wow, that's terrible.
What happened to me when that thing was on my chest and I woke up, I shoved it off of me. I sat up. I got on my knees to face it. I don't know why I got on my knees still to this day. I don't know why I didn't jump to my feet. But I was moving. I was looking right at it.
Yeah.
It was moving. It wasn't like out of the corner of my eye or, I'm like, oh, I can't move. I'm so scared. There's something moving around the room. No, I was looking right at it.
Yeah.
And I was like looking back and forth, studying all the details on it. Even though I couldn't actually see any details, I could see the outline of it.
Yeah.
And it was bizarre. I've never seen anything like it before that. I've never seen anything like it since.
Yeah.
Even with, you go into this AI, the recreations of AI, and it shows like nightmarish creatures. I've never seen anything near what I saw. So basically, for someone to say that I hallucinated that, and it's never happened since, ever, I wasn't paralyzed. It wasn't sleep paralysis. But that's what they would say it is. They just broom it in there. It's just sleep paralysis. Don't worry about it. Yeah, just typical scenarios. Very dismissive. And that's why I wanted to do the show.
All right.
So what'd you think?
It was a good show. Gosh, for people that have that, it just breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Just breaks my heart. Well, I would like to, Victor tells me every time we do a show, write down what you're going to say when at the end. And I don't, because I'm a filler. I'm a filling person. So one, I would like to thank everybody for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for supporting us. And keep sending stories in, and
especially if you have sleep paralysis and you're dealing with it, we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, send in stories that you have, or if you have ideas of a show that you would like us to look up. We have a couple of those coming soon. I'm really looking forward to that. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.